Yep, it's about that time. It's Coach's Rise time where we get a little bit of in-depth into the coaching world. I'm your host, Coach C. Collins. Thank you again for those who support the main show, About That Life podcast. And hopefully I can talk a little bit of real with you about basketball from a coaching perspective, just trying to get some insight to you. We keep pushing these episodes out, trying to get you good content, just trying to give you guys my perspective on certain topics and things. You let me know what you think. Please, again, hit the follow button on whatever venue you're listening to this podcast. Of course, you can always listen to the main show, About That Life. It's also on YouTube. If every time you hit that button, it helps us out a lot. One small click for you is a big help for us. But let's get to today's topic. Today's topic is about leadership. As a coach, how do you identify who your leaders are? What are characteristics you might want out of them, and how can you implement and help these things to thrive in a basketball game? When I was thinking of this topic, it really came down to me. Well, you know what? Scratch that. First and foremost, happy January 20th. First off, happy Wednesday for those out there. And congratulations to President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Again, whatever your political views are, I'm not here to tell you which way to go or which way to be. But we do have a new president, one that I'm happy to see in office. And, we get to move on to the next chapter, which will hopefully be a good one. Now, will everything be perfect? Will everything change? Absolutely not. We are a country where we are definitely living in several different Americas. But this is a good first step. And again, I just want to say wish congratulations on that. Now, getting back to the topic, just had to get that out there, sorry. Getting back to the topic of leadership, right? And I think it's pretty relevant considering we have a new leader today. So that's kind of where the idea came from. As a coach, you are a leader, right? It isn't a democracy; it's a monarchy. I tell my team, I'm the Genesis and Revelations. I am the Omega, Alpha, and Beta. I am the end all, be all as far as you are concerned when it comes to this team and how I make decisions. Now, does that mean I have to live with my decisions if they're wrong? Absolutely. For you coaches out there, you have to take accountability too. A lot of times, I've heard from coaches, when the team's doing well, the coach made all the right decisions. I did really good. We did this, but they executed perfectly. And then when the team is doing bad, it's these kids aren't working hard enough. They don't want it enough. They're not doing the things that I need. Where are you in that? Because again, coaches, you have to be leaders, and leaders take accountability. Now, how do we identify these leaders in our team? Well, I can tell you what it is for me. My leaders aren't my best players. It helps if they are, but they're not my best players. My leaders typically don't always have to be vocal. Sometimes they can physically do it. They can physically show it. They could be leading through the drills, leading through, the way they play, setting the tone, so to speak. The biggest thing I identify when it comes to my leaders is it's not a title, right? A coach is the title. Me as a coach, that's given the title. If you go to work, there are plenty of people who are given the title of manager, but they're not the leader of the crew. There's plenty of people who are not the star player or the starter, but they are the heart and soul and the leader of the team. Very similar to when the Warriors had KD, Steph, Clay. The spiritual leader, the soulful leader, the fuse of that made a lot of that go was Draymond Green. And we all know he's not the best player on the Warriors, especially at that time. But again, that's things you have to learn to identify as a coach. When you identify who your leaders are, you need to nurture that. You need to thrive. You need to help that thrive. You need to grow that tree and see it blossom. Because I believe it's on our duty as coaches to make good leaders, especially when we identify them. Now, there are some coaches who believe that we should make every kid a leader. I don't think that's always the case. As I said in my previous episode with Coach Hernando, I think different kids lead in different ways, different aspects of their lives. But when we identify who the leaders are, you have an obligation as a coach to make that kid understand the power they yield and the extension that they need to be of you. Doesn't mean they need to be a carbon copy, but they have to be able to see the same game the same way you do. One person I listen to and read his books is motivational speaker Simon Sinek. Hopefully I said that right. He wrote a book, The Infinite Game, that I've been currently reading, and there's a passage, I have it on audiobook that I want to play a little bit for you right now, speaking of leadership. His take is obviously about business, but it's obviously something you can apply to sports and basketball. And you go ahead and take a listen for a minute or two. We'll delve into it a little bit before I finalize what I'm saying and getting out of here.
For any organization to build new leaders is very important. Think of an organization like a plant. No matter how strong it is, no matter how tall it grows, if it cannot make new seeds, if it is unable to produce new leaders, then its ability to thrive for generations beyond is nil. One of the primary jobs of any leader is to make new leaders, to help grow the kind of leaders who know how to build organizations equipped for the infinite game. However, if the current leaders are more focused on making their plant as big as possible, then, like a weed, it will do whatever it needs to grow, regardless of the impact it has on the garden, or even the long-term prospects of the plant itself.
So I wanted to delve into that because that's kind of essentially how it can work in AAU. For those who don't have the right leadership, in terms of they're just about the brand. They're just about, I want to pump D1 athlete, D1 athlete, D1 athlete, D1 athlete. And all it cares about the show. I don't care about the substance of the athlete. I don't care about the personality. I don't care about who that person is. I often find that, those situations can become really hollow. They can burn some kids in the really wrong way. Some kids don't make it. They get injured. They end up going JC, whatever the case may be, and no one hears about them. There's no love. There's no heart to it. That's a pretty dangerous slope. Again, everybody business model in this game is different. AAU is different. I just believe that's just not the right way to go in terms of my leadership. When you find a kid that can lead his team and how important that is, it is vastly, vastly important because that's the guy that's in the locker room. That's the guy they need to look to that's going to tell them when they're down 17 points, we're going to win. That's the guy that needs to galvanize and pull the troops together to make them cross the line together. As I said it before, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And the leader is the tip of the spear for what that makes that happen. As a coach, you have to identify it, you have to help it thrive, and you have to make that tree grow. Because it's either going to become an acorn tree, strong, feeding those around it, or it's going to be a weed, undesirable, ugly, tall, something you want to get rid of and pull out. You know what I mean? So you do have to kind of manage and see those things as you grow. I know a leader for a team is extremely important because he is the guy, he or she, is the guy or girl that will make things happen for you in the fourth quarter when you're down 5 points with 45 seconds left to go. That is the guy that not necessarily needs to take the last shot, but can motivate and help thrive the guy that is going to take the last shot. Coaches, understand we are leaders in what we do, just like our president currently right now is supposed to be the leader of our country. We have an obligation to lead the right way. We have an obligation to help future leaders thrive. I hope when my kids, whomever, all the kids I coach, can become well-rounded men and women and hopefully can lead not only those around them, but lead in other ways that impact the world. My legacy is I want to help change the narrative of what our society is. That is where my hand is hopefully in a place to touching this world. That's my legacy. And hopefully it's something you all can understand and vibe with. But with all that being said, I know that was a pretty deep topic, but I think it was pretty fitting for today. Leaders are a very, very important thing. Identify the guys that can be vocal. Identify the guys or girls that lead by example. And as a coach, thrive it, nurture it, help teach them how to identify it. Understand that the importance and the weight that they have on the team. Understand the tone that they set. Make sure you as a coach recognize how are you setting the example as a leader. Doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I talk about my flaws all the time. I talk about the shit I've done in my past and how I've grown and learned as a man, because that's how it works. Experience, time, help you grow to figure out who you are and who you're going to be. Kids don't need to see that we're infallible. They need to see that we're human and that we're growing and trying to do better, and that we're trying to set the example for them to be better. When you have leaders on the court, identify it right away. Help it thrive. Make it work. And you will see a lot come to fruition. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys listening. If you made it to the end, again, go ahead, hit that follow button. If you want to check out the main show, we got plenty of content and episodes for you. This was a great Coaches Rise time. It was a great time to, hopefully keep pushing for the future. My area's opened up for the rest of you places that are not. Hang in there. Kids, I know you want to get back to playing sports. It will be there, I promise you. Just keep working that driveway, working that park. If you got access to it, do what you have to do to keep your mental health going. Hope everybody stays safe. Try to stay COVID free. And I'm out.